Man, competitive fishing can be so much fun, but it can also be extremely nerve-wracking, especially if you're new to the tournament scene. Well, I will never forget my very first tournament ever on Grand Lake of the Cherokees in Oklahoma. I was so nervous the entire way down. I had to have my brother drive me. I was just in a complete panic. And I had done my research and I knew that, Grand Lake is one of those lakes where you can get a really good shallow water bite in the extreme heat. It's just a good hot weather lake, and I had, read as many articles as I could. And this was really before the internet was the research tool that it is now. So I was scouring old magazines to try to find out some information. Well, during practice, I put together something that I thought was pretty good. I was catching fish shallow on a white square bill crankbait. Big surprise there, right? I love square bill crankbaits. And it was working. No matter where I went on the lake, it was working. So I went into the pre-tournament meeting that night before competition, feeling pretty good I had found something. And then, holy cow, I sat down and Daryl Robertson, who is a local there on Grand Lake, sat right in front of me. He had just won the Ranger M1. It was like a $500,000 purse or something like that, I think. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Everything in my mind just went completely blank and I started to panic. And then here's the part, the worst thing that we can do as a tournament angler, especially a new tournament angler, is I tried to start to pick up conversations all around me. That dock talk, as they call it, is so detrimental to what is going on, okay? And the less we figure out in practice, the more we fall into that trap. And here's why it is so critical to avoid it. There are so many times when dock talk or, listening to people at the boat ramp, what they are doing or what they say that they are doing may not fit to your strengths. And then you start to just grasp at straws and try to do things that you're not confident in. And confidence is the key. On any given day, you can catch multiple bass doing multiple different presentations, right? So you need to stick with what you are confident in. And when you start to listen to others, you doubt your locations, you doubt the depth, you doubt the lure, you doubt the presentation, and it can just really, really fall apart. The only time that I've found when dock talk is a good thing is if you have a really, really, really good buddy that you practice with, or somebody that you have fished with a bunch and you know what your strengths, your presentations, you know each other. So when you're having that conversation, it clicks and can make sense. It's just not some information with no history or no background to it. Well, getting back to that very first tournament, I didn't sleep a wink that night because I was going through in my head, what if I'm doing is not good? What if it's not wrong? Well, I was such a new tournament angler. I didn't have many other tools to pull from. So I stuck with my one particular thing that I had figured out. And I did pretty good in that event. It wasn't at the cashing a check, but I think it was like 36th or 37th out of like 150 boats. So I was very, very pleased with what I had going on and what happened. But then I fell into that trap where I doubted myself continuously. And for like the next 2 seasons, 3 seasons, I did terrible. I just fell into this horrible, horrible rut until I went to an event on the Hudson River, okay, in New York, when I was finally able to focus back onto the things that I do well, that I had confidence in, and then I was able to cash a check on that event. But that dock talk, that doubting yourself, just messed me up for multiple seasons. Just do your best as a new tournament angler to focus on what you do, and then as you gain experience, those tactics, those tools, those presentations will start to expand, and you'll become a much more versatile angler over time. And hey, if you want to watch a video that talks about dealing with pressure, fishing pressure, and some different ways to handle it out there on the water, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.